The New Deal, redefining America's social contract, 1933 to 1938. Most people think that the New Deal was just about ending the Great Depression, and it wasn't. My argument is this. Between 1933 and 1938, FDR's New Deal did something bigger. It changed what Americans expected from their government, and it shifted the federal role from limited interference to active manager of economic well-being. The most important legacy? Not the jobs or the dam. It was institutional, a new social contract that still shapes us today. Before FDR, the federal government was a tiny, by modern standards. Its job was national defense, delivering mail, and regulating trade between states. If you lost your job in 1932, Washington didn't see that as its problem. That was for churches, local relief, or your own resourcefulness. But when the banking system collapsed and 1 in 4 workers had no jobs, that hands-off idea broke. The old contract couldn't handle industrial-scale collapse. 8 days in, FDR goes on radio and explains the banking crisis. That alone was new. A president taking direct responsibility on air. Then came the 100 Days of Laws. The Civilian Conservation Corps put 250,000 young men to work in months. The WPA later employed 8.5 million. These weren't just relief checks. They made the federal government a paycheck source. For the first time, millions saw Washington as the place you turn to for a job. Historian David Kennedy captures the shift perfectly. The New Deal didn't fix the Depression, but World War II did that. It killed the idea that Washington should stand by. The new social contract was self-sufficiency is still the idea, but when markets fail catastrophically, the government has obligations to step in. Both sides now expected something. Civilians expected help, and the government expected to be judged on economic results. The New Deal did not end the Great Depression. It did end any notion that the federal government was powerless to address it. David M. Kennedy, Freedom from Fear, page 377. The second New Deal moved emergency relief to permanent structure. The Social Security Act was the cornerstone. It wasn't charity, it was an earned benefit tied to payroll taxes. That made it politically untouchable later. The Wagner Act gave labor real power, and unions exploded from 3 to 10 million members. The Fair Labor Standards Act set a wage floor. Washington was no longer just regulating commerce between states. It was now judging fairness inside the workplace. As James Peterson wrote, this laid the foundations of the modern American welfare state. Policy created politics. The New Deal coalition of unions, city machines, and northern black voters gave FDR 4 terms and kept Democrats in Congress into the 1960s. Those groups had a stake. Unions got Wagner Act protections. Black Americans, despite discrimination in WPA and CC, moved to Democrats for federal jobs when local relief shut them out. But there was a pushback. Businesses formed the American Liberty League, calling it a dictatorship. The Supreme Court killed key laws. FDR's court-packing plan failed in 1937. The New Deal had real limits. No national health care, and it excluded agricultural and domestic workers, which meant many black and Latino workers. By 1938, a conservative coalition blocked more reforms. The New Deal didn't end the Great Depression, but it reshaped American governance. By going into banking, labor law, and firm finance and retirement, FDR replaced the 19th century small state with 20th century managed capitalism. After 1945, even Republicans accepted that Washington had to fight recession. Social Security and unemployment checks became facts of life. The coalition FDR built set the agenda for Truman, Kennedy, and Johnson. A historian, H.W. Brands, said, Roosevelt made a big government respectable. The debate after 1938 wasn't whether to intervene, but how much. So the New Deal was a constitutional moment in all but name. It didn't amend the Constitution, but it rewrote the social contract. It told Americans, you can expect Washington to protect you from the worst of industrial capitalism. That principle survived. Every time market crashed, 2008, 2020, we turned to Washington. The questions FDR raised about liberty, equality, and federal power aren't solved. But the New Deal set the floor, and that's why its most important legacy was institutionalism.